Hello chess lovers, Suren here, and in this video I want to take a quick look at a very interesting game played in round 3 of 2020 Altibox Norway Chess, with white pieces playing Norwegian chess grandmaster Aryan Tari and the reigning world chess champion Magnus Carlsen is on the black side. Tari opened up with e4, to which Carlsen answered with his usual Sicilian defense: knight f3, knight c6, d4, c takes d4, knight takes d4, knight f6, knight c3 and d6. Instead of going for the Sveshnikov variation, Carlsen is choosing the classical line, d6. Bishop g5, white is choosing the main line, bishop d7. After e6, bishop d7 is the second most popular continuation. Queen d2, a6, white castles queenside, knight e6. And actually with the transposition of moves we are stepping into the main lines. f4, bishop e7, knight f3. White is moving back his knight, thus in future is avoiding the exchange. b5. Meanwhile, Carlsen is advancing on the queen side and is demonstrating his aggressive intentions. Bishop takes f6, g takes f6, as there is a weakness on d6. Black can't recapture with a bishop, but once you are recapturing with a g-pawn, you are getting a very solid pawn structure, and in many cases black can even put his king on e7, where it will be in safety. King b1, we see a prophylactic move, queen b6, f5, and Carlsen castled queenside, a standard idea which can be seen very often in typical positions. Bishop d3. I have to tell you that in here the main move is considered to be g3, after which white is putting his bishop on h3. But in the game, Tari decided to play bishop d3, king b8, knight e2, bishop c8, opening up the rook's path, knight f4, knight e5, bishop e2, knight d5. As usual, Carlsen is playing a dynamic chess and is striking in the center, and at the same time is opening up the bishop's diagonal. He takes d5, and a very interesting decision by Carlsen, he takes f5. Yes, he is eagerly getting tripled pawns on the f-file. All this looks very interesting. And on the surface, this is like violating the main chess principles, you know? Look at this, tripled pawns, but actually black is doing okay. Knight d4 by Tari, bishop c5, rook f1, rook e8. Meanwhile, both players are centralizing their pieces. a3. After a3, in some cases, white can bring into life b4 idea, although we won't see this move in the game. But when you are playing a3, the downside of this move is that you are somewhat making your queen side vulnerable. Here Carlsen played king a8, a prophylactic move, and later the b8 square will be occupied by the rook. h3, bishop d7 and knight h5. A strange looking move which seems to become the reason of white's upcoming problems. At this point, Stockfish suggests d6, a pawn sacrifice, which allows white to free the d5 square for the knight, also open up this diagonal, and all in all this looks to be an interesting move worth of taking into consideration. Instead we see knight h5, white is targeting this pawn on f5, but this is allowing black to play knight c4, thus forcing white to give up this bishop, and in return black is managing to open up the b-file. Right now bishop takes a3 can be a nice threat, that's why white played queen c3, but there comes rook b8, intensifying the pressure down the b-file, and at the same time black is now threatening rook e3, a nice deflective rook sacrifice. Here white neutralized that threat, but this is tapping into another very impressive sacrifice. At this point, knight takes f5 can be a good alternative which can allow white to somehow prolong his resistance. Although after bishop d6 still black is maintaining nice attacking chances, but all in all this is good for white. In the game we see rook f3, and as we have reached the critical position, please pause the video and try to find Carlsen's next move. Ready? Well, it turns out that the weakness of the e-file still hangs in the air, and this time we see rook e1. Carlsen is going for an exchange sacrifice. Queen takes e1, of course, is not possible because of this queen takes b2 checkmate, And at this point, rook takes e1 is actually forced. And we have bishop takes d4, queen b4, queen c7, d6, queen c6, queen a5, and bishop takes b2. At this point, rook takes b2 could give black an easy victory. If king c1, then queen takes d6. And now rook a2 can be a nice threat. Instead, we see bishop takes b2, which is allowing white to prolong his resistance. Bishop goes back on e5, rook b1, after which we see the exchange of rooks on b1, and queen takes d6. Yes, white king is in danger, and now black will use that fact. King c1, queen d4, queen takes a6 check, king b8, c3, neutralizing the threat from the long diagonal, but this time we have queen g1 check, king d2, queen takes g2. Yes, victory is just a matter of moves, and now Carlsen is unleashing a very dangerous king hunt from which there is no escape. Queen g3 check, rook f3, queen e1 check, king d4, queen e5 check. And now, once white is winning the c-pawn, the rook on f3 also drops. And there is no counterplay, you know. If a move like queen b6 check, then king c8, yeah, there is no way out. Black king is in safety. There is no perpetual check. At this point, Tari played king d6, but resigned after bishop c8. If a move like queen b5 check, then queen b7. Yes, black king is in safety. That's why at this point we have a resignation. Well, that was a very, very impressive exchange sacrifice by Carlsen. And I'm sure that this move is going to become very famous. Yeah, one of the prettiest moves in Carlsen's career. In the end, a chess puzzle for you, where the task is to find the winning line for white. As usual, we'll wait for your answer in the comment section. The task is very easy. Feel free to check out my early uploads as well. We'll see you in my next video. Take care.